Hey guys, before we get to the mysteries, we want to tell you about another podcast that we think you're really going to like. Check it out.
The Mona Lisa, the Hope Diamond, the sarcophagus of King Tutankhamun. Humanity has accumulated hundreds upon hundreds of priceless artifacts and treasures, each one the physical embodiment of a certain time and place. But for all of humankind's greatest achievements, we also kind of suck. For every priceless painting on display in the Louvre, there is another masterpiece stolen and bartered off in an underground auction, or even collecting dust in your grandmother's attic. Each week, Relic, the Lost Treasure podcast, explores the strange, but mostly true tales behind history's greatest lost treasures. If you like unsolved mysteries and true crime, with maybe a little less murder, but certainly a few weird deaths, then you should come along on the journey. Join me, Maxwell, as I dig beneath the couch cushions of history. You can find Relic on iTunes, or stream us at relic.blueberry.net. That's blueberry without the E's. Adventure awaits.
Hello?
You said that like a question.
Hello? Is anyone there?
Is anyone listening?
It might be, perhaps it's you. An Unsolved Mysteries fan rewatch podcast. And I might be Liz.
I might be Samantha. Or maybe we're aliens. Our bodies have been snatched and we've been replaced.
Whoa. Did I even think about that possibility when I woke up today? I did not.
That you're an artificial alien replica?
Yeah. Oh, God.
Nah, we're the same.
Oh.
As we always have been. Unfortunately.
Right. It's a little bit boring now that you put that idea in my mind.
We could keep pretending that we're
I don't want to know how dorky I'll be if
alien body snatcher.
If I'm pretending to be an alien this whole episode.
Well,
and
anyway,
then they never found the treasure. See? So bad.
It sounded just like an alien.
That's exactly how they sound. Sort of like humans impersonating robots in bad old movies. Yes. Hello, everyone.
Welcome. It's been a while sinf we've done this.
I'm kind of excited to do like a regular episode.
A regular, normal episode.
I like it.
We did our collab with Mike and Josh successfully last week.
Yes. Because we
somehow.
Because we are master podcasters. We're total pros. We
definitely know how to set up a mixer.
We definitely.
Don't let anyone tell you otherwise.
Definitely don't look at our setup and then go, just like my impression of Josh right there.
Actually, Josh looked at our setup and still gave us the benefit of the doubt. He was like, "Oh, you must fix this in post." And I'm like, I have no idea what you just said. Yeah. We do absolutely nothing. We talk into a microphone.
Certainly don't do whatever he was talking about.
Sometimes that doesn't even work.
He was so gracious about it. Man, oh man.
Yeah, he really was. But we could tell. He was like, "Oh, how does this work?"
He's like, "Why did I agree to come on the show of a couple of fuck-ups?" Well, you did. It's in the record books now.
Here
that
you
happened.
are.
We did a little Q&A episode to stall a week. And now we're back to normal.
We're back to normal. It feels good. It feels good.
Yeah,
and
it does feel good.
We're on the last episode of season 1.
I never thought we'd get here. Made it this far?
I have no clue.
When we were just starting out at the Brooklyn Park Library, did we ever think...
We're little baby podcasters.
Testing out equipment, going, is this a microphone? We knew even less then than we do now.
We did. We really did.
Somehow.
If you could have seen us struggling at the Brooklyn Park Library, I don't even know how we got that to work.
We had to feed a cable through a wall.
We did have to do that. I'm not saying that we took a scissors to a tie down to release some equipment.
There was literally a part where I asked Samantha if she had a knife.
Actually, we didn't end up doing that. We thought about doing that, but we didn't because we couldn't find one.
Oh, yeah.
They had tethered down some of their equipment so you couldn't bring it into the other room, but we needed that cord. So we were at one point contemplating cutting it.
I was like, I'll just get a zip tie and replace it, and they'll never know. It didn't end up happening.
It didn't, but we did get it to work somehow.
That's the rebels that we are at the library. We'll break the rules, but then we'll replace it with a perfect replica, just like the aliens have done with our bodies. And no one will ever be wiser.
Exactly.
So how are you?
I'm pretty good.
I was going to say, here's Samantha, cool as a cucumber. You would never know that she is both building a house and about to get married.
Oh my God. You have no idea the 2 weeks that I've had. Not only am I building a house and about to get married, but my work has been so crazy.
I know.
Literally, one day I ran from one meeting to my desk, looked around for something edible, grabbed 2 Girl Scout cookies, and ran to my next meeting. It's been nuts. So I've been a little MIA from Instagram and really anything having to do with this podcast. It was nice not to have to edit a podcast this week.
Yeah.
I just wanted to go home and watch Netflix and make those little felt flowers you gave me for my birthday.
The succulents that will never die.
Yeah, that's all I wanted to do was just sit there and mindlessly roll some felt while
It's just,
not watching
It's just
Netflix.
impressive to me that you would never know all of this was going on with Samantha because she's just like, oh yeah, I'm fine. She seems fine.
Yeah, on the outside.
Yeah. Yet all this chaos swirls around
Things
her.
are going to calm down because we've pushed the date out of the wedding to the end of the summer.
Oh.
So I don't know if I've told you that yet.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
But
we were going to do it in April, and then we were like, wait a second, our house is going to be done in April or May, and then we're going to move into the house, and we have to have a wedding. This is a terrible idea. So yeah, we pushed that out a little bit, and work's going to start calming down, and the house isn't going to. That's still going to be really busy, but
sure.
such is life, I guess.
You just seem very adult to me.
Do I?
Yeah,
I'm glad I seem that way.
You're very on the ball.
I'm glad I seem that way.
I have no updates. I'm sure I should, but
No, we have some updates because we picked our giveaway winners
that's
finally.
true. Yes.
We said we were going to do it like 2 weeks ago and we forgot. So check
Look,
your...
Samantha's been busy and I just didn't do it. So what do you want from me? We had to do it together for some reason. I don't know why.
We probably didn't need to do it together, but we did. And so check your social media.
Yes. We had a winner for Instagram and a winner for Facebook.
Serendipitously, we
Twitter.
have 2 Rebeccas that won. We had to check and make sure it wasn't
They're
the same
not the
person.
same one. 2
So,
Rebecca's
I guess
and one Sarah.
I'm assuming Becky's full name is Rebecca, but maybe not.
Yeah.
So,
Anyway.
So congratulations.
They get their stack swag from PB&J.
So send us your addresses, which, you know,
We will not
is a
use,
safe thing to do.
Not used for nefarious purposes, obviously.
And we will send you your stack swag.
Yeah.
And your
Sweet.
perhaps it's you merch.
What?
Thank you, Jen from PB&J
Yeah, so excited.
on Etsy. I can finally pronounce your Etsy shop name. We have one more update, and that is that we're not going to have a break in programming between seasons. But next week we're going to do a non-Unsolved Mysteries episode. It's going to be listener stories.
So this is your last chance
You have a couple more days to get us listener
in
stories.
your stories. If you saw a ghost, if you saw a UFO, if you, I don't know, had an embarrassing incident in a trench coat, anything.
Maybe not that.
Anything tangentially Unsolved Mysteries related. Yeah, that's not too dirty.
Let us know, and we may read it on the show.
Did
we have
you
a lot of
also
listener
have
stories.
a threesome with Liz Taylor and JFK?
And Robert Stack?
Yeah.
Tell us.
I guess that's a foursome. Tell us.
Yeah, that would be a foursome.
That we need to know about. So it's Perhaps It's You podcast at gmail.com.
We have a lot of listener stories because we've been saying we're going to do this for like months.
I think this is the right time to do it. And
Yeah.
maybe if it goes well, we could do one at the end of season 2.
Sure.
And then we'll save up the good stories that people send us and we'll do a periodic listener episode.
There's probably some of you who have forgot that you even sent us stories.
And then you'll go,
but
oh yeah, that was me. I did see that ghost UFO with Bigfoot driving it.
yes, that's what you're going to hear next week. And then the week after, we're starting season 2. So get excited, folks.
How has this happened?
I have no clue.
How have we learned so little?
I figured we would quit this thing after 2 times.
I mean, we really were. It was just like the whimmiest whim. Oh, let's just try it.
It really was the whimmiest whim.
Which is not my style at all. We're like, oh, let's just see how it goes.
Yeah.
And then it went well.
Now we're still doing it.
I guess that's like a lesson in being more positive, but I refuse to take it.
Have I applied this to any other area of my life?
Nope.
No,
and I'm
I
not
have
going to.
not. Should we get started? Because we have the world's longest treasure segment to talk about.
Samantha is really eager to get started because she cannot wait to talk to you about treasure. What's hilarious is, so we go back and forth.
Yes.
I don't know that we always did, but
At least now we switch off.
we switch off who does the first mystery each episode so that it kind of fairly
distributes them. Yeah.
It just happens that Samantha keeps getting treasure. treasure segment just happens to by the
universe
fates,
is a cruel bitch, you guys.
keeps coming to Samantha. It's like, who's going to talk about this treasure? Is it going to be Liz?
It's gonna be me.
Of course not.
Who's gonna talk about this treasure segment that's almost the whole episode?
It's so long. I will say in its defense, it's probably the best one we've had yet.
So I have to say something that you're gonna be shocked. I didn't hate this treasure segment. I didn't hate it, and
I'm so shocked I can't even speak.
I actually have a theory about where the treasure is, which tells you that I believe this treasure is actually real. So yeah,
Holy shit.
you've all been I've blown you all away, but I'm not saying that this is my favorite mystery. It was way too long, but as far as treasure segments go, I didn't hate it actually.
If people want to learn more about Treasure, I'm going to give a shout out to our friend Maxwell over at Relic Podcast.
Yeah.
Who
somehow tweeted us even though we shit on Treasure all the time.
Yeah, somehow likes our show even though Samantha's like whole deal is Treasure's not real. And she has that as a tattoo on her forearm. So if you actually like Treasure and you're tired of us bashing on Treasure, you definitely want to check out that show.
That actually might be the promo for the beginning of this episode now that I think about it.
Well, then
I might be wrong.
There's all the info you needed.
You'll get the info
right
in
there.
that promo either this week or next week. So, yeah, this is the world's longest treasure segment. Before we get to that, though, I have to say that Robert Stack, at the beginning of this episode, is walking down some stairs, and he says, "Tonight's cases feature ordinary people thrust into a vortex of mystery, heartbreak, and intrigue."
I kind of want that on a t-shirt.
Not super true about these segments.
I wonder if that's just like from some random episode, and when Amazon edited it together, they're like, yeah, we'll just slap that at the beginning of this.
This one sounds good. Robert Stack, I think I've written down some notable quotables from Robert Stack in this episode. He's very poetic.
Nice. I wrote down from this same moment, Robert Stack's peacoat fits perfectly. This show is secretly a long ad in favor of quality tailoring.
So, I couldn't remember the word peacoat when I was taking notes. What did I write down? A felt-like trench jacket over a suit.
I mean, it's true. What is a peacoat?
Question mark? That's what I've written down.
Yes. Felt like...
I was like, what word am I looking for? It looks kind of like a felt, and it's a trench jacket. Yeah, so...
Amazing.
Yeah, that's my fashion knowledge. Couldn't remember that word. All right, treasure. So next we go to some caves, which is where Robert Stack is for this mystery.
Yeah, I love Robert Stack in a cave? Hell yeah, I do. He should always be in the cave.
It's really... What? This is really well shot. The camera comes around a corner in this cave. Robert Stack is walking towards you, and he's backlit from, like, the entrance of the cave. And he's, of course, wearing his Alcatraz outfit, because it's cold.
He has one, like, actually in the outdoors outfit, and he just...
keeps using it.
Does anybody know what cave this is?
I have no idea. It's
Let us
perfect.
know. Because I would like to go to this cave.
Maybe it was just a set in Hollywood somewhere.
Yeah, that's also possible.
I don't know. It looked really good.
If it's a real cave, someone that knows more about Unsolved Mysteries than us, which is a lot of people, let me know.
The other thing I wrote down is that when he comes out of the shadows wearing his Alcatraz outfit, his first words are "buried treasure." And then I responded with an audible groan.
But, Samantha, would you say the very words have a mythic ring? Because I wrote that down.
No. Although I took a screenshot of that and put it on Instagram.
The buried treasure. The very words have a mythic ring.
This is what I'm saying. Robert Stack has some quality one-liners in this episode. My next note is Robert Stack in a cave? Question mark? Yeah, he is.
I wrote in a cave equals great outfit. That makes sense.
He looked like he was a little cold. He had his hands in his pockets. So, anyway, enough about Robert Stack.
Also, shout out to our listener in the UK that wrote us a review that listens to this podcast, has never watched Unsolved Mysteries, and doesn't know who Robert Stack is. We love you. You're the best. Thanks for your 5-star review. I don't know how you started listening to this podcast, but I appreciate that you put up with all this Robert Stack talk just by having no clue who that is.
Who is this Robert Stack person?
Who is this of which you speak?
He must be pretty cool. So, Robert Stack tells us that tonight we will learn about the legend of a vast treasure buried in underground caverns in New Mexico. Today, the treasure could be worth nearly $2 billion. Some say it was discovered 50 years ago, at the time of the Unsolved Mysteries broadcast, by a man named Doc Noss and his wife, Babe. Babe stood by her husband even though many people believed him to be a con man. And Robert Stack tells us that part of the episode will be a previously untelevised interview with her. So you can look forward to that. Actually, this interview with Babe is hilarious. She has taken no one's shit. She has no time for you for your nonsense. Amazing. She's like leaned back in her chair and she's like, yeah, we found a treasure. What do you want to do about it?
Yeah, let me have my treasure.
She's so funny and so sassy. So the treasure basically, is the treasure real or an elaborate scam? That's the mystery here. Next, we go to a shot of the New Mexico mountains. Robert Stack's voiceover tells us that White Sands, New Mexico, is a 1,000-acre part of the desolate, I'm going to call it Embryo Basin, because that's how Robert Stack pronounces it, but it's spelled embryo. You lived in New Mexico.
I don't know which
is
of
it
those
the
is
Embryo
correct.
Basin or the Embryo Basin?
White Sands National Monument is a really cool place. If you ever get the chance to go, it's I think it's a gypsum stone deposit. Anyway, it's like all just white sand. And it's huge. So when you're walking around, it feels like you're on the moon.
Cool.
Like, it's just a very otherworldly experience. I wandered around there at night, and it's bizarro.
Oh.
So, yes, definitely check it out, but I have no idea how to pronounce that word.
We'll call it embryo.
Okay.
Because that's how Robert Stack... I watched with the subtitles on, and it says embryo, but...
It doesn't really matter,
whatever.
does it?
Yeah, no, it doesn't. Robert Stack tells us that this inhospitable environment is home only to rattlesnakes, sagebrush, vultures, and mule deer.
What is a mule deer?
I have no clue.
Is a mule crossed with a deer?
Mules are infertile. They're sterile. You can't breed mules.
So why is it a mule deer?
Maybe it's an infertile deer?
Oh. Let's just make shit up. I just discounted my opinions by cackling. You would have taken them so seriously if I hadn't laughed.
The cackling has to stop.
Okay, total side note. Have you seen that those Alexa things have just randomly started cackling?
Oh my god, yes.
Which
have you watched one of the videos?
Yeah.
It is creepy as fuck.
It's so scary. I mean, I'm super paranoid, so I would never have one of those things anyway. Like,
the government is listening to you on them. But they're probably listening to our phones anyway, so whatever.
Yeah, I'm already, like, paranoid about that, so I'm not gonna, like, put extra devices in my house. But the idea that it would just start randomly evilly laughing. But then when I saw that news story, I was like, the cackling has to stop.
Alexa, the cackling has to stop. Apparently, people have been trying to use their Alexas to, like, turn off the lights. And they'll just say, Alexa, turn off the lights. And, like, it won't do it. And they'll, like, keep asking. And then eventually it just laughs. And it doesn't turn off the lights.
We are in a, like, space odyssey situation where it's just going to go, oh, you know, I'm sorry, Hal. I can't do that. Which, okay, shout out to my dad, who I know is listening. Back in the day, my dad set up our computer without telling me that when you used to get an error message all the time, if you had like a desktop computer in the 90s, it like couldn't do anything, and we would constantly get this error message. My dad recorded him saying, "I'm sorry, Liz, I can't do that." So the first time I got an error message when I didn't know, that's what it said. That was the sound effect he had put in. It was hilarious. Anyway.
That is hilarious.
That's the situation that we're in now with Alexas. They are cackling at you. The cackling will not stop.
It will not stop.
No.
It's here to stay.
Yeah.
It's definitely here to stay on this podcast, but whatever.
I'm sorry. So continue with this. I'm actually excited about this.
In November 1937, a man named Doc Noss was deer hunting. According to Babe, and this is from the previously untelevised interview, the women went on these hunting trips, but they stayed at camp while the men went out looking for deer. Babe says that Doc went up onto a hill and moved a rock. Out from under the rock came a, quote, big puff of air. Doc knew that he'd found something, but he didn't know what. The hole was big enough for a person to go down and contained a crude ladder. Doc went down the ladder where he discovered a vast labyrinth, in the words of Robert Stack.
If you found a hole with a crude ladder, would you go down into it?
Absolutely not.
By yourself? No.
Or with anyone else, for that matter. I would just cover it, put the rock back. First of all, I wouldn't be in the wilderness on a hill.
Well, that's true.
But if I was and I found a hole... No, absolutely not.
I feel like I would go and get someone else, but I would want to know what was in there.
Maybe I would see if someone else wanted to go down there.
But I feel like the odds of you just falling and breaking your neck and
that's what's going to happen.
No one ever finding your body.
You're not going to find treasure. You're going to kill yourself.
Yeah.
So, whatever. But he went down it.
And found treasure.
Yeah, a vast labyrinth. So he went deeper and deeper until he found a vaulted cavern. In the cavern, he found a chest with the words sealed silver written in Old English script. Inside the chest was, according to...
that people have to label it. They have so many treasure chests. You don't want to open them, right? Like, oh, what's in this one? Oh, that's the silver.
The sealed silver.
This one is my pigeon blood rubies. A phrase that's used in this segment that I'd never heard before in my life.
Did you Google pigeon blood ruby?
No,
they're beautiful.
Oh.
They're really pretty.
Is it just like a darker ruby?
It's kind of dark, yeah, dark red.
Okay.
And I think they're very big. I don't know if they're more expensive than regular rubies or rare. I didn't read anything about them. I just Google imaged them.
Sure.
But
yeah, okay.
yeah, so the reenactment of this is hilarious too, because he's in this dark, like blue hued cave, and when he opens up the chest, because you're looking at it from below, literally like a light shines out of the chest, like in a fucking movie.
It's like the Pulp Fiction briefcase.
Yeah.
It's somehow like illuminating. You know how treasure just glows?
Yeah, like gold, like in a cartoon.
Yeah. You know how metal has an interior light and it shines forth? It's so you can help you find treasure.
Yeah, exactly. And then inside the chest, according to the reenactment, was just a pile of coins. Yeah. Like an actual buried treasure.
But that was only the beginning.
Really, yes. Robert Stack says that the chest was just the tip of the iceberg. The treasure, which today...
The treasure iceberg.
That's the iceberg you want to hit.
Yeah.
So today, this treasure would be valued around $1.7 billion and may still be hidden under, and I love this from Robert Stack, the craggy scopes of Victorio Peak. I don't know what craggy even means.
Like rugged?
I guess.
Bumpy? Bumpy the kid?
Bumpy the mountain?
Bumpy the mountain?
Bumpy mountain? I don't know.
It's like, instead of smooth, it's craggy.
Sure. So next we get some history on Doc and Babe. Unsolved Mysteries shows a picture of Doc who looks, I don't know, far too modern?
Yeah.
It's very strange,
yeah,
this photo of him.
I would agree with that.
It also looks like he was from one of those old-timey, like, Old West photos that you, like, get with your family where you have to dress up.
At the Mall of America. That's right. Come to Minnesota.
You can get it in, like, any theme park, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, also the Mall of America.
Also the Mall of America. Did you ever do that with your family? I never did.
I don't think so. But Mac and I once saw a guy at Mall of America getting an old-timey West photo just himself. We still talk about it all the time. We assumed that he, like, brought his iPhone to the Apple store and then was, like, had all this time to kill, and he's just, like, wandering around the mall. Like, what am I going to do?
Go to Underwater World. It's not called that anymore. Go ride a ride in.
Mall of America is so big, it has a goddamn aquarium in it.
Yeah, which is a pretty awesome aquarium.
It has a hall of mirrors. That's super weird.
It has, like, amusement park. Go ride a ride.
But we think he got so bored that he's like, fine, I'll just take an old-timey West photo by myself, standing with, like, 1 foot on a barrel.
It kind of looks like what Doc did.
Maybe.
Except he wasn't really old-timey.
Maybe
like,
this whole thing is fake and was actually... and maybe they just went to an amusement park.
Yeah, maybe.
Babe's old photos, though, she had style.
She really did.
Yeah.
Anyway, Doc was a traveling medicine showman, which
I took to
artist. Yeah, I took to mean
oil salesman.
He traveled around selling cocaine to cure all your ailments, I assume,
or just like colored water that cost $100, right?
In his way too short tie.
Look, that's
his
just
tie was like 2 inches long.
I don't know. Who knows? Maybe that's coming back next year. Get on it, everyone. The 2-inch tie.
2-inch tie. In 1933, he married Ova Beckwith. Doc nicknamed her Babe, and it stuck. Probably because Ova Beckwith is such an unfortunate name.
That's a terrible name.
Yeah. So
don't name your kids that.
Ova Beckwith.
Beckwith. It does not really roll off the tongue. At least not my tongue. Maybe someone with a prettier voice could make that work.
So then she was Babe Noss.
That's way better.
Which is better. This episode is full of quotables, is what I wrote down. Robert Stack next says that they settled down and opened a foot clinic in Hot Springs, New Mexico.
Yeah. Hot Springs is an interesting place that does have natural hot springs and attracts a lot of hippies. And it's very colorful. I wish I had spent more time there.
Is there an abundance of foot clinics?
I feel like there's a bunch of like different type of health things, like holistic, because of the natural springs.
The hot springs.
Yeah.
Did you see? I saw this on Facebook that scientists now believe that taking a bath burns as many calories as taking a 30-minute walk.
So, I did not. And am I planning to take a bath tonight now? Yeah, I am.
Yeah, my exercise routine is set in stone now.
Bath a day. Got it.
They call it like internal heating or something, which is like if you heat up your core temperature by taking a bath or like sitting in a sauna, you burn as many calories as if you go for a walk.
That sounds like stupid old-timey science.
No, it's apparently real.
But it's like come back around.
Yeah. So, guys, the bath I take every day, all that time I'm wasting, not a waste. Burning calories.
That's your self-care and your exercise all in one.
Hell yeah. So, Terry Delonis, Doc's grandson, is interviewed for the show. He has a very caterpillar-like mustache.
He was not my pick.
He was not my pick either, although his mustache matched his eyebrows very well.
That's true.
But he's not my pick. My pick
so wistfully. That's true, it is.
That's true. My pick is in this segment, though.
Oh, okay, mine isn't.
I feel like I know who you picked. There's a very good mustache later. Liz is...
I'm pantomiming the length of a mustache right now.
Yes. So he says that Doc loved adventure and was fascinated with history. He describes Babe as strong-willed and independent.
Which the reenactment of her made her seem like a horrible loudmouth grouch that wore ill-fitting overalls.
Yeah. Just head-to-toe denim all the time.
And it's just her, like, nagging and yelling. And just being like, I want the treasure! Treasure is mine! Blah, 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 blah. It wasn't the most flattering reenactment.
It wasn't the most flattering reenactment, but I also kind of liked it, because you could tell she had no time for your shit.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's how she was like in real life.
It captured her spirit.
Mm-hmm. After discovering the treasure, Doc and Babe spent every free moment exploring the tunnels under the mountains. They found several caverns. Inside one, Doc found 79 human skeletons stacked inside a small enclosure.
This is the best reenactment, is a guy, like, crawling alongside a wall of the cave, kind of like Spider-Man, and then, like, right around the corner is, like, a Halloween fake skeleton, like, bleh.
It was pretty good.
It's the best. Please screenshot that moment. For me, I love it. Caves.
Consider it done. They found...
I am pro exploring caves. Should we go to a cave this summer?
There are some
caves in the area.
In Minnesota that are supposedly haunted.
I know there's one where you can do
Street
a
caves.
flashlight tour.
Oh, okay. There's some in Stillwater, the Wabasha Street caves. People go swing dancing in those.
Yeah. Which does seem cool to me.
I think it is, like, if I could dance. But.
Yeah. Anyway.
So they also found amazing riches, jewels, coins, and priceless artifacts. They found chests.
Motherfucking crowns.
Yeah, swords, a crown, I put in parentheses, of course. Babe describes the crown as having 40 diamonds and 1 pigeon blood ruby, which is apparently a real thing.
Okay.
I don't know. It must be rare.
Sure, I've never heard that before in my life.
They showed a picture of a crown over and over in this segment. I don't know if that was like the crown. Babe claims that she took it out of the cave and washed it, but then somehow it ended up back in the cave.
Yeah, I didn't understand that.
So I'm not really sure.
If I found a crown in a cave, I would keep it.
Probably.
Is it mine? I would still keep it. Finders keepers.
We'll talk about this later, though, but apparently in this time it was illegal to own gold that wasn't in the form of jewelry.
Yeah.
So I do think they didn't really want word getting out that they had all of this.
But the crown, isn't the crown count as in the form of jewelry?
I mean, I feel like they would raise some questions you might not want to answer.
You're like, oh,
like,
no.
Where'd you get this crown?
You just hide it. Don't tell anyone.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's what I would do.
I mean, it would be hard not to just, like, wear it around at all times if you found a real crown. Like, you're just, like, going to the grocery store, do-do-do-do-do. But...
Liz, where did you get that crown with that pigeon blood diamond? You know,
it's just been passed down from my family, generation to generation. They're like, really? Because you run a foot spa and you sell snake oil. It's like, oh, yeah, I'm actually, like, descended from royalty, though. So don't mind the crown.
Don't look into it, though.
Yeah.
So next, Robert Stack says that in another cavern, Doc discovered what appeared to be a stack of worthless iron bars. And I just wrote down, not really sure how in the midst of this vast and grand treasure you would dismiss bars of metal as worthless, but okay. Of course, they were gold. In fact, there was...
They kept thinking it was pig iron.
Yeah.
And for some reason...
Babe was like, could you, like, bring one out and we'll look at it? And then it was gold. Like,
I think she just, like, wanted it for some practical. She was like, oh, I need pig iron. Isn't there some actually in that cave? And he was like, oh, I don't want to bring it out. It's really heavy.
And then they brushed it off. And
she was like, you dumb motherfucker. This is gold.
Yeah, there was apparently 16,000 bars of gold.
Which, that's a lot.
That's a lot of gold. So next they outlined the 4 theories of how this enormous treasure came to be buried under a New Mexico mountain.
Most of them are about evil white people.
Yep. Theory number 1, the treasure belonged to Juan de Ante, the man who founded New Mexico as a Spanish colony. According to legends, he amassed a large Aztec treasure.
Okay.
Theory number 2, a Catholic missionary named Father LaRue operated gold mines near Victorio Peak in 1979 and stored his gold in the cavern.
Should a missionary really be operating gold mines?
No. This doesn't seem very Christ-like, but what do I know? I'm a heathen.
Yeah.
Theory number 3. The treasure belonged to Maximilian, the Emperor of New Mexico in the 1860s, and who had... Oh, I wrote down... What was the name of that mustache? The one that goes into the mutton chops? I can't remember.
Oh.
I have a picture of it.
The Chester B. Arthur?
Maybe that was it. I know that it had a name. But yeah, he had an incredible mustache mutton chop combo.
Yeah.
And I wrote down, had a question mark mustache? I couldn't remember the name of it.
What's that term we got told and then promptly forgot?
Yeah, so he had one of those. He apparently snuck his wealth out of Mexico after learning of an assassination plot against him. So it could have been his.
And he did keep a lot of his wealth in pigeon blood rubies.
So
I just made that up. That's not true.
Yeah, well, maybe he did. I don't know. Theory number 4. The treasure belonged to an Apache tribe that had raided stagecoaches.
I hope that's the true one.
That one sounds pretty cool.
But why would stagecoaches have, like, swords?
That was my question.
And a crown.
And the crown. I don't know.
So that's probably not true. Like, if it was just coins and stuff.
Would make more sense. And bars of gold. I don't know.
Yeah, that seems a little far-fetched. I would say it's probably one of the powerful people.
Yeah.
If it's real.
So after finding their treasure, Doc and Babe attempted to file a claim. This might be my favorite reenactment yet on the show, and this guy is also my pick for MVM. It was the guy behind the counter who was so sassy, and he had those Coke bottle glasses, and that, I don't know, the mustache was cool, but like his whole demeanor was hilarious.
I feel like in every Western, there is this guy. He's usually the banker. For some reason, he has round glasses, and no one else in town does. And he has a certain kind of gray mustache, and he has a stripy shirt that has like a garter on the arm.
Yep. And he was wearing these lovely red suspenders.
Yeah. And
I just wrote down, this is everything.
And then he's like, so what are y'all up to with this mining thing? Because they're trying to establish the claim to the land the treasure's on so they can legally obtain the treasure.
Right.
Which is smart.
Yeah, it is.
I think I would have just taken it, but they're trying to do their due diligence despite being snake oil salesmen.
Yes. So they filed a lease for the entire section of the land. They also filed mining claims and something that is actually called a treasure trove claim. Doc mined the peak for 2 years. Witnesses claim to have seen him take many gold bars out from the mine, but he apparently proceeded to hide them from everyone, including his family.
The thing with finding treasure, I would imagine it makes you kind of paranoid.
I think it did, and normally I would be like, oh, of course he took the treasure out and then reburied it. But apparently it was illegal to own gold in a form that's not jewelry.
So he was worried about people finding it.
He couldn't just take it out of the mine and sell it.
Right.
Legally.
Because I was like, just go to a bank, dude. But he couldn't.
He could not.
And I guess he didn't want to keep it all in his root cellar. So
right.
He just ended up like randomly burying it around rivers and shit.
He didn't do a great job of hiding the treasure. They would do things like bury it in the ground and just put a different colored rock on top of where they buried it. So
I'm just slowly shaking my head in disapproval.
Not a great plan. Eventually, he hired an engineer to help him dynamite part of the mine. But Doc got into an argument with the engineer about how much of a charge to use. According to some woman who isn't named, I don't think. No, this was Babe. Just kidding. There was a woman later that they didn't give a name to who said a bunch of stuff.
That was
Babe
weird.
said that the mountain was, quote, rotten. And but the engineer insisted on using a stronger charge. And what happened was that it caused a cave-in that collapsed the mine and shut Doc out of his cavern forever. And at this point, he had only gotten about 100 or so gold bars out of the mine. Doc's grandson says that he became very protective of those gold bars.
Well, sure.
Right. That's all he had and all he was going to get. For 9 years, Doc attempted to sell his gold bars illegally on the black market. Didn't have a lot of success. In 1948, he met a man named Charlie Ryan. The men came to a deal where Doc would give Charlie 51 gold bars. Charlie would sell them, and then they'd split the money. And then in the reenactment, Charlie says, yeah, I could go for that. Like he's just casually buying a latte or something.
Yeah.
Like, who is this guy? So at the last minute, Doc, quote, feared that Charlie would double-cross him.
Which actually seems pretty likely.
Considering
this
what
deal
happens
is
next.
Terrible.
Yeah. So he asked a friend named Tony Jolly to help him
Best name
rebury
ever.
the gold in a new hiding spot.
Best name ever.
The next day, Doc and Charlie argued about the gold, and Charlie pulled a gun on Doc. While they are arguing, at least according to the reenactment, Doc sees an opportunity to flee and runs from the house. Charlie's wife freaks out and yells that Doc is going for his gun that's in his truck, and she screams, shoot him, and Charlie shoots him from behind.
He literally shoots a man in the back who's running away.
Yeah, and he collapses in the street against his truck.
It's awful.
He dies instantly, according to the show.
And then you see a photo of him dead against a car.
Yeah, it's weird and sad. But for 3 years, Babe and her children struggled to clear a path to the opening of the mine. But when they were finally just yards from the entrance, the state of New Mexico was forced to give the land surrounding Victoria Peak to the United States government so that the Army could expand the White Sands missile range. Babe and her family were forced off the claim by the Army. The reenactment of Babe standing her ground is pretty funny.
Yeah, it's...
They were like, ma'am, this is a missile range. It's not safe for you to be here. And she's like,
I don't care. I want my treasure.
I know. They try and help her into the car. She's like, I can do it myself.
Yeah.
And then they drive off, and the subtitles are literally just Babe arguing with Army. It's pretty funny. Pretty funny.
I mean, it sucks.
It does suck. Yeah, it really does.
I would be pissed too.
Yep. Babe continued to petition the Army and the Pentagon, but she was repeatedly denied. Doc and Babe's grandson claims that some personnel from the nearby Air Force base inadvertently stumbled into the mine and found stacks of gold bars. And then they literally interview the former airman, who claims that they used hunting as an excuse to go out there and repeatedly go into the cavern where they found the gold bars. He says that the reason they didn't take any gold out was because, quote, we were military and we were in the middle of a top secret missile range where everyone was forbidden to be. So, well, that seems reasonable.
Yeah. He was like, we weren't supposed to be there. We were lying about hunting.
So that we could go look at these gold bars.
At the very best, I don't know, they would lose their jobs.
Yeah.
The Army would probably take the gold.
Right. So eventually they did tell their superiors about the gold, but they were denied permission to explore further. So they went out there and the following weekend and dynamited the entrance shut. A year later...
If they can't have the gold,
no one can.
No one can.
Right. So a year later, the Secretary of the Army created a top-secret military mission at Victoria Peak. In 1961, Babe Noss, along with the state of New Mexico, filed an injunction against the Army to stop them from excavating at Victoria Peak. In 1963, the Army sought exclusive rights to Victoria Peak, including mineral rights. The state of New Mexico denied the request, but an aerial photograph shows that many roads were created that crisscrossed the entire peak. So
Feds were on to you.
Yeah. So now it gets a little bit crazy. Word of Doc's hidden gold reached other treasure hunters. An anonymous group hired Boston attorney F. Lee Bailey.
The F. Lee Bailey.
The F. Lee Bailey, the defense attorney for O.J. Simpson, and many other high-profile cases.
It's a weird world.
It is a weird world. This group was seeking permission from Attorney General John Mitchell to excavate Victoria Peak and to sell the gold bars. Then, the secret of the gold became public knowledge at the Watergate hearings when John Dean testified about the group's request.
It's so bizarre.
It's crazy. They show footage of the Watergate hearings where they're talking about this claim by F. Lee Bailey's group, the group that he's representing.
Yeah.
That there's this gold out in the mountains.
We're starting with a guy named Doc who's selling dubious medicine. And we go all the way to goddamn Watergate.
It's crazy. And then because of the publicity, the Army finally allowed a group of private claimants, including Babe Noss, F. Lee Bailey's clients, why do
they... It's Babes. Go away, other people.
I know. The airmen who had allegedly discovered the gold, as well as representatives from the Apache Nation and the alleged heirs of Jesse James.
Just cause.
I guess.
Why were they there? It makes no sense. It was like, just to make this more interesting, you claim you're related to Jesse James?
Come look for gold.
Come along, we're gonna have a picnic. We're making a whole day of it.
Well, they're making 10 days of it. They approved a 10-day expedition in 1977. The group was led by professional treasure hunter Norman Scott. They were determined once and for all to find out if treasure is hidden at Victoria Peak. They show a lot of footage from the expedition. There was a lot of media there. The army's like, I guess if you can find some gold, you know. During the expedition, a scientist from the Stanford Research Institute conducted radar tests to determine if there is an underground chamber. He came to the conclusion that there was indeed a large cavern at the base of the mountain, about where Doc Noss had said there would be. This was the last official attempt to find the treasure. It was unsuccessful. Doc Noss's heirs have never been able to recover any of the treasure. Tony Jolly claims that he went back into the desert and retrieved 10 of the bars that he helped Doc bury. Babe Noss sadly died in 1979. Every year, her heirs have petitioned the White Sands Missile Base to allow them to dig at Victoria Peak. Every year, it's been refused. The Army finally agreed to allow them to dig, but said that because of a technicality, an act of Congress would be required.
That doesn't make sense to me.
Makes no sense. Robert Stack tells us that this year, a bill will be introduced by New Mexico congressmen, which may finally give the green light. He says that if successful, the bill would allow an excavation of Victoria Peak by the end of the year. And if that happens, Unsolved Mysteries will be there. And then he closes the segment with one of my favorite lines. He says, perhaps, just perhaps, we will find the greatest treasure the modern world has ever known.
Perhaps.
No, you're not. Because you know what I think happened? The government fucking took it.
Yeah, I would say that this is not true, except...
There's so many witnesses.
There's a lot of witnesses, and I just don't think they would have kept filing all this paperwork and doing
for nothing if it was just an elaborate hoax.
Yeah, because they're not getting investments from other people. They're not. They're just trying to dig in this mountain. Yeah. Like, even if a missile hits them, they're trying to dig in this mountain. So there has to be something
There's
there.
So many witnesses. They're unconnected, different witnesses. They seem relatively credible.
I realize this guy had this shady past and maybe was a con artist, but he could have also found this treasure.
Yeah.
And I just don't think they would have kept fighting to get access to it if there was nothing there. That doesn't make any sense.
I also think, of course, so these Army airmen go and they find the gold, and then they tell their superiors about it.
It's gone.
And then the Army is like, well, this is ours now.
You can't go back.
You think they're going to leave $2 billion in the mountain? No.
Yeah.
The Army went and took it, and that's why they approved this expedition, because they knew they weren't going to find anything.
That's sad. What do you think happened to the crown?
I don't know.
Some Army guy has it in his house.
His wife wears it every day.
They fought with those swords. You know they did. For sure. They brought back the swords and had like an epic sword fight. Oh my god. This is definitely the most interesting treasure case we've had yet.
I actually enjoyed it.
Because
I actually think that it's
seems
true.
like there probably was a treasure.
It kind of does, yeah.
If anybody... This segment's long, y'all. But if anybody wants to know even more about it, there is a book called What Men Call Treasure by Robert Boswell and David Schwadell.
Is this the book that Mac owns?
I don't think he owns it, but Robert Boswell is one of his professors. I've met him. That's how I'm aware of this book.
Interesting.
If you need even more treasure in your life, that exists. Am I going to read it? No, I'm not. But,
well, you know.
It exists.
It does exist.
Check your local library.
Maybe Relic Podcast will do an episode about it.
Yeah.
Or they haven't already.
Maybe they have.
Maybe they have. I've listened to 1 or 2 episodes, not all of them. So that was the treasure segment. I don't have anything else to say about it. It was very long.
Who was your mustache pick?
Oh, that guy in the reenactment. The guy behind the counter. I thought he was so funny.
The like, claims guy.
And so sassy. There's another really good mustache in the last segment, too.
Okay.
There was a few winners in this one, but I really liked that guy.
All right. I am the next segment. I'm the next segment.
Whatever that is.
Yeah. It's a missing person. Be prepared to cry and then briefly chuckle and then sob your eyes out. This is a sad one, folks.
Yeah, this one...
Get your pets near.
This is not great.
Pat your children on the head, because this one's rough.
Yep.
This is the case of Carrie Lynn Nixon. She lived in Sable Forks, New York, and disappeared June 22nd, 1987. That night, she was 16 years old. She left her home to run an errand for her dad about 9:30 p.m. She went and bought groceries at the local store for $3.
And wasn't it like a 2-minute walk or something? It was so close to her house.
Blocks away.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see if I wrote down. I just wrote down a couple blocks.
This is very much like the one from Las Vegas. I can't remember the victim's name, but where she just made this walk all the time.
Yeah. She's just like walking to the corner store. Her dad's like, go pick up some chips and cigarettes or whatever. She literally spends $3. She left at 9:55. She exchanged greetings with a neighbor at 10:05 on her walk home. Mm-hmm. 5 minutes later, by 10:10, she's gone.
Yeah. Vanished.
5 minutes later, a group of teenagers walk down the street and Carrie's not there. So sometime in the 700 feet from her house, between 5:05 and 5:10, she is snatched.
Yeah.
It's awful. For some reason, these cases where the person is so close to home are more haunting to me.
Right, because this is your neighborhood. You want to feel safe there.
Yeah, there's a forensic files where a girl is literally her friend drops her off at her mailbox and she doesn't make it to the house. Like she's at the end of the driveway.
That's horrible.
And she can see her house and is kidnapped from there. And just that's gonna haunt me for the rest of my days. Anyway, so Carrie disappears 700 feet from her home.
This is why people are, I mean, statistically, you're not likely to get snatched by a stranger, but this is why people are afraid of it, because it's, you think you're safe in your neighborhood, in your block. When you can see your house, you think you're safe.
And, this is also where Carrie Lynn's mom had grown up.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's so sad.
I know.
They speculate for a little bit about whether or not she had run away.
One person in particular was pretty convinced, and I was like, fuck you, dude.
Bitch, please. Yeah. And then someone else,
the voice of reason,
is like, why would she go pick up the groceries for her dad and start bringing them home
in like sweatpants
and then run away
with none of her possessions?
With none of her possessions and none of the money that she had saved that they found in her room.
Yeah. Makes no sense.
It made me honestly angry that they would even
consider it.
Yeah, like that her dad would be like, "Oh, can you go get this from the store?" Sure. She actually goes and buys it. She's walking home, and then 700 feet from her house, it's just like,
this is a good time to run away.
I'm just gonna leave with nothing except these chips.
Makes no sense.
Or whatever the hell she bought.
He gave her $20, and she spent $3 of it. So it's not like she bought a ton of stuff.
Yeah, but she's gonna go on the run with that bit of pocket change.
Yeah. $17? No. Makes no sense.
It made me really angry. Anyway, the next day, a massive search began for Carrie. Unfortunately, no trace was found. Authorities, her family and friends were torn about what happened to her. Some believe she was abducted by a stranger. Others believe she may have ran away. No, she absolutely did not.
She did not run away.
I never for 1 second was like, oh, maybe she... What? The cop or I can't even remember. The person who was most in the she ran away camp was like, oh, she had told her friend that when she grew up she wanted to live in Hawaii.
Who doesn't tell their friend that? I want to live in Hawaii when I grow up.
Hasn't everyone at some point been like, wouldn't it be great to live in Hawaii? Think about that versus the number of people who actually move to Hawaii. Also, if you run away, how the fuck you get into Hawaii?
Swim. You're going to swim there.
What?
I don't know. As a child. Yeah.
Anyway, she'd also made some interesting comments claiming that she wanted to leave the area, possibly going to California, Florida, or Hawaii.
Every kid has talked about how you would love to run away and live in Hawaii.
I would like to go live in a tropical paradise. And then the other friend goes, yeah, man, that'd be sweet. That's it. They don't run away. The next scene isn't them running away. Okay. I'm sorry I complain about this all the time, but it's very irritating me. Yes. Okay. In November 1987, the New York State Police received a letter from Flint, Michigan, claiming that she was in the, I don't know how to say that, Etowahville, South Carolina area. Yeah. Her friend went to the area and put up several missing person posters. Later, Shirley Canapel, that's probably not it, came forward
close enough.
Claiming that she had encountered Carrie during the summer of 1987 under hypnosis. She claimed to be remembered being introduced to a girl who called herself Carrie Nixon. She claimed that she was from New York. When this witness does seem credible, when she's talking about it, she's like...
Because she worked with runaways, right?
Yeah, she had volunteered for an organization that helped runaways. She said the way that she was evasive to questions reminded her of that.
But she remembered all of this under hypnotic regression.
I think she probably talked to someone else. She talked to someone else.
Yeah.
There's other girls named Carrie
Right.
Like,
she talked to someone else that named Carrie who was acting like that, and under hypnosis, it was Carrie.
She's
Lynn
like combining two. She sees the flyer for a girl. It reminds her of this girl that she very briefly spoke to, and now she's conflated these two stories.
And under hypnotic regression, they can create new memories.
Yeah. I mean, I think that she meant well, and I think she was trying to help. She was wrong. So, now we get into a weird, briefly hilarious moment.
It is weird.
There's like 70 sightings of Carrie all over the place. Mm-hmm. None of them amount to anything.
Well, they keep saying that she had this poofy hair and she wore earrings. Like every girl her age at this time.
Yeah, they're acting like the fact that she had multiple ear piercings, 2 on her left, 4 on her right, is remarkable. Guess what?
It's not.
So many people have that, and that was very fashionable at the time. And
yeah,
that is a distinctive marker, but it's not like she had a tattoo of a tiger on her forehead. You know what I mean? Like it's not that distinctive.
Right.
I was thinking the other day, like, everybody's welcome. You're welcome that I got tattoos on my feet. Like, it'll make my body so much easier to identify. That's a public service.
But your murderer is going to know, and they're probably just going to chop your feet off.
Oh, yeah. Well, you'll solve my murder anyway.
So you need to get a tattoo on every part of your body.
Okay. It's a public service.
I mean, of course I'll solve your murder, but I'm just saying.
To help people identify your corpse, don't you think?
Yeah, getting tattoos?
Yeah.
For sure.
So people should get tattoos because there's a lot, I hate to be even more of a downer, there's a lot of unidentified bodies out there.
Yeah.
A startling, depressing number of people who have not been claimed because of missing dental records and just lack of resources and blah, 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 blah. Bodies that are badly decomposed and all sorts of complicating factors. But if you get a tattoo of a witch on your foot, it's going to help.
And, like, the science for identifying, like, is this leg bone a male or a female? I just saw an article on Facebook about Amelia Earhart.
Yeah.
Being, like, 99% sure that we've identified her or whatever. And, like, the first person that found the bones was, like, certain this was a man.
Yeah.
And turns out, like, looking back on it, that was not true, and it's probably a woman of her size. So there's bodies out there that have been, misidentified,
and sometimes it's just like clerical errors, like people are putting in the wrong height or whatever, so it's not getting matched up because you're like, oh, but actually they had green eyes. It's like, well, that's actually like written down.
Yeah.
Whatever you call that.
Miswritten down, sure.
Miswritten down.
Yeah.
An error has been made.
There you go.
Anyway, I am interrupting what is the most notable part of this segment.
My God, yeah, we have to get to this.
It's very memorable and bizarre. So there's all these sightings of Carrie. Her parents are desperately searching for her. And then come the New Kids on the Block.
What?
Is that what you expected me to say?
Is that what we expected Robert Stack to say?
Is that what anyone saw coming ever?
No.
Did you think today I was going to talk about Jordan Knight? Well, I am. Oh, yes. So a concert tape came out of a beautiful VHS, I'm sure, a collector's item. I hope you all have it, of New Kids on the Block concert. And her parents saw this, or someone pointed out to them that a girl in the audience looked like Carrie.
She did look like Carrie, I will say that. But it's also really blurry.
It's a fucking VHS. The quality
of a dark concert
is not great. It is grainy. I would like to think that Carrie would not wear that stupid baseball hat just like prompt on her perm, like it might fall off any second.
I assume it was being held there by hairspray.
Or like a hat pin, like an old lady. Anyway.
She's on someone's shoulders, it kind of looks like. That's why you can see her, because she's a little bit above the rest of the crowd.
I don't know if she's just a little bit tall. There's also, like, a grown man. Okay, pretty much this whole audience, as you would expect, is, like, preteen girls. Of course. Because they were the NSYNC or One Direction of their time.
Yeah.
But then there's, like, a grown man in a suit jacket, like, partying in front of her. And for a second, I was like, oh, my God, is that the kidnapper? And he took her to a New Kids on the Block concert? No, that's not what happened.
Turns out later, but
there is an appeal from 2 members of the New Kids on the Block saying, Carrie, if this is you, call home. Your parents just want to know you're alive.
It was the weirdest appeal, too, because they're, like, kind of acting a little, like, sexy with their pouty lips.
I think they don't know how to talk any other way. They're so used to, like, trying to convince an 11-year-old that they care about them, which, think about how creepy that is.
Yeah.
That they're like, hey, Carrie, your parents are, like, super worried about you, so how about you pick up a phone? Your friends at the New Kids of the Block would think that was totally gnarly. And it's just like, what? What is happening? I mean... You're too young. Here's the thing, Samantha. I try not to always harp on her shining, beautiful youth, but she doesn't remember the New Kids on the Block heyday when they had fucking comics and trading cards.
Your husband apparently had a doll.
Shut.
Did he want me to say that on the podcast?
He had Donnie.
Oops. Sorry, Mac.
Yeah, they had dolls. They were like Ken dolls of... I'm sorry. They were like G.I. Joes. New Kids on the Block.
I didn't experience the New Kids on the Block craze, but I did experience the Backstreet Boys in sync. Which was the same thing.
It's the same thing.
It happens every,
except that the New Kids on the Block had rat tails.
I mean, yeah.
I was in some sort of summer art camp where we learned a choreographed dance to Step by Step. So, not that I still remember that, but
I wish you did. We could film it for Instagram.
That's my New Kids on the Block memory. I also remember being in the cafeteria and a kid asking me if I liked New Kids on the Block. And I was pretty devoted to Bonnie Tyler, Total Eclipse of the Heart, so I was like, oh, no, not really. And then they were like, oh, so MC Hammer? Because those apparently were your only two options. I mean, it was like the second grade, so.
I mean, yeah.
And then I pretended to like them because I really wanted to impress my friend Katie.
I mean, that's
I don't think she's listening to this, but Katie, that was all for you.
That's hilarious.
Anyway, so they make this appeal. Gary.
I really like your New Kids on the Block. Your
Jordan
Knight impression is hilarious.
I just love that. There's an early episode of The Simpsons, the only type of episodes of The Simpsons that matter, where Lisa is obsessed with like a teen heartthrob named Corey, and she keeps calling the Corey hotline, and he's like, here's some words that rhyme with Corey. Story, allegory. Anyway. So, yes, Jordan and Jonathan Knight both made personal appeals in like
a fucking locker room or something?
Yeah.
Where were they?
I'm guessing it was like backstage in their green room or where they would... It did look like a locker room.
Where are these people?
From the set of Mighty Ducks, here is Jordan and Jonathan Knight, which I didn't remember there was a Jonathan Knight. Sorry. He didn't really break out. Okay. But, so you have this weird moment... And you get a good laugh going, oh yeah, the New Kids on the Block.
And then you're slammed back to reality by the update.
Oh my God, does it get terrible. So the girl from the video came forward and identified herself. It does kind of look like Carrie, but it was not Carrie. It was a teenager from Washington, D.C. Then, on January 28th, 1994, almost 7 years after Carrie vanished, her body was unearthed in a shallow grave only miles from her home. Robert Anthony Jones confessed to her kidnapping, rape, and murder. He had been previously arrested for numerous bank robberies. He confessed to the murder in an effort to get his wife Teresa a lighter sentence for driving the getaway car from a local bank heist with their 2 children inside.
Oh my God.
So I think she also had some child endangerment charges, and he was trying to make a plea deal to help her out. He kidnapped Carrie at gunpoint. This literally, as she was walking home with her fucking groceries 700 feet from her house, he literally just drove by, saw her, and kidnapped her.
This is terrifying because it could be anyone. It could have been any of us.
Absolutely.
Because he literally just saw her and took the opportunity.
Totally randomly. He didn't
stalk her. Yeah.
No. He just happened to see her at this one moment that he decided he was going to kidnap a kid. It's the worst possible scenario. Yeah. He kidnapped her at gunpoint. He drove her to his parents' camp where he raped, strangled, and shot her. He buried her on the remote property the following morning. At this time, he was 23 years old and living in Bar Harbor, Maine with his family. He had returned to his hometown for a week-long visit when he abducted Carrie, who he spotted while he was buying beer at the local store. God. He returned to the Sable Forks area where he settled with his family, only 200 yards from where he had buried Carrie. Under the negotiated plea, he's secured an 18-year to life sentence for the robberies and her murder. He is now an inmate in Sing Sing prison, and his first parole hearing was in 2011. I couldn't find an update plus 2016, but as of then, he was still in prison. He claimed... Okay, if you want to hear some, like, toxic masculinity nonsense, here we go.
Ugh.
He claimed that he abducted her because of marital difficulties.
Oh, yeah. You know when you have a fight with your husband or
You know-
wife
you
and
know whose
you have to go
fault?
kidnap and murder someone?
You know whose fault it is that he murdered a teenager?
His nagging wife.
His nagging wife.
I bet she cackled like a hen.
Fault. Oh, it's because his wife cheated on him.
What a fucking asshole.
And that he committed the robbery in order to get caught. What?
What?
Okay.
He's a fucking liar.
Yeah. Sadly, Carrie's brother died after a long battle with ALS. But he had named his daughter Carrie Lynn Nixon in her honor.
I'm gonna cry. That's so sad.
Yeah.
Ugh, that's terrible.
It's a terrible case.
It's brutal. I mean, you get a little respite with the New Kids on the Block.
I just wish it
but-
could have been in a happier circumstance somehow.
I know.
But personally, if I was a parent and I found out that my kid had just run away and was like going to New Kids on the Block concerts, I would be pretty pissed.
Yeah,
that is a better fate than she was like raped and murdered and buried, because at least she's like alive and well. But also, you must be like, what the hell, Carrie?
I know.
We had a good thing. Why did you run away to go to?
And where are you getting the money to go to these New Kids concerts?
What the hell is going on? But instead,
yeah.
it's the like worst
The
possible
worst
outcome, which makes me go,
ever.
oh, I'm not gonna have children
Yeah.
because Jesus Christ.
I know. That
Our
was really
hearts
sad.
go out to Carrie. That is really fucking awful. Obviously, that guy is a garbage human being. Just look at this mugshot. Look at his smug
Oh,
face.
what a fucker.
I know. I hate him. He's the
He has a very
worst.
punchable face.
Yes, that's the description.
He just like I was just telling my mother-in-law, she loves. I don't want to say she loves The Bachelor and The Bachelorette, but she watches it, and that guy has a punchable face. The Bachelor,
The current Bachelor.
yeah, the one who like dumped that girl on live
Oh,
TV.
yeah.
Yeah, she was from Minnesota.
Oh,
She definitely deserves better, so she's gonna look back on this and be relieved.
yeah.
Punchable face,
Yeah.
smug.
She probably just got caught up in the whole thing. And
I'm sure.
yeah.
I mean, you go on The Bachelor with the intention of winning, I assume, but
I have no idea why you would do that.
I have no clue either. I did see, I don't know if this happened recently, but there was like a woman that went missing, and like
Yes!
it turns out she was on The Bachelor.
You're not supposed to tell people you're going on the show, so it's like a
Yeah.
surprise or something.
She told her mom that she went to work on a marijuana farm or something.
Yeah, and then her mom was like, "Oh my god, why can't I get a hold of her?" and reported her missing. Of course, right?
And then people saw her and was like, hey, is that the missing girl?
She's fucking on The Bachelor. That's where she is. So, I mean, I guess that there's one case where we didn't need to look for a missing person.
Yeah.
She was on The Bachelor.
On The
but
Bachelor.
maybe
Finding love.
if you're going on a reality show and you can't tell people, maybe there's like a way to alert the authorities or something. I don't know.
Like if someone reports me missing, I'm on The Bachelor.
Yeah, don't. My mom's probably going to call you like every day, so be prepared.
I told her I'm working on a marijuana farm. Just say that's it.
Yeah.
Ma'am, do you know marijuana is legal? No. Just, I'm not really working on a marijuana farm.
Yeah.
I'm on The Bachelor.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway. Where did we get This next case is kind of sad, too.
It's sad and a little bit boring.
A little bit boring.
I'm sorry to say that. That's disrespectful.
This is an unexplained death.
I blame the production of this segment for making it kind of dull.
It was a little bit dull. In November 1985, Dexter Stefanik was about to leave his son's farm near Corbett, Oregon, for a long road trip. Dexter was a 67-year-old widower
Doesn't
from
that
Wisconsin.
name seem fake?
Dexter Stefanik?
Yeah, that's a fake.
It's a fake-sounding name. He had come to stay with his son for a few months earlier after his wife Vivian died. But according to Dexter's son,
Which just
David...
makes this so much sadder.
I know.
Here he is, like, mourning. He needs the support of his son, and then...
Something bad happens.
Unsolved Mysteries-ish things happen, and that's terrible.
Yeah, you never want Unsolved Mysteries-ish things to happen to you.
No, unless it's finding a magic rock.
Or a treasure, I guess.
Yeah.
But so David says that as the first anniversary of Vivian's death approached, Dexter was ready to go back home. He says he came out and we thought that he'd probably spend the winter with us, and then it got to be a difficult time of year for him, and I tried to convince him not to leave. Winter had already set in. There's really nothing he needed to go back to Wisconsin for, but that's the last that I saw him. So Dexter left his son's home early on Monday, November 18, 1985. He told his son that to save time, he would pull into rest areas when he got tired instead of looking for motels.
Oh, boy.
This is very weird because it just sounds like he had nothing to go back to. So the
just
fact that he was in
probably
such
needed
a rush.
Some space. He was
I
not
think that's
dealing
the
with
case.
his wife's death well.
Yeah, I just don't understand why you would be in such a rush. Like, take your
Yeah.
time. I guess maybe he wanted to get back to his own house, maybe.
Yeah.
And just be in his own space. I could see that. On Tuesday morning, local sheriff Jim George was alerted to a car on fire at the Bad Route Rest Area in Montana. That is not a great name for a rest stop. The Bad Route Rest Area.
If you're in
nothing
charge
good
of-
happens there.
If you're in charge of naming rest stops, any of our listeners,
That's a job.
don't name it that.
Maybe the good route? I don't know.
Yeah.
Anything is better than that.
Place where you will not get murdered.
That would be a
Rest
great
stop.
name for a rest stop. I would pull off there. I would not pull off the Bad Route Rest Area in Montana. That's where I get murdered. So, Sheriff Jim says that when I arrived at the rest area and pulled in behind the vehicle, the inside was completely engulfed in flames. I went over and talked to the state highway department. They informed me that they didn't see any person inside the vehicle. The car belonged to Dexter Stefanik. A little over a day had passed since he left Oregon. The sheriff's department immediately searched the area. There was no trace of Dexter and no obvious signs of foul play. Sheriff Jim George brought in an arson expert to examine the car. Who was the guy with the mustache in this one? I can't remember. He had the mustache that looked like a small dead animal on his face. I think it was Sheriff Jim. I'm not sure because when they interviewed this guy, he was wearing plain clothes. He was like wearing a black long sleeve shirt. So I'm not sure who he was. I just remember that he has a very bushy mustache.
It looks like a dead animal.
It does. It looks like a small mouse
I
maybe
did write
under his nose.
down that I feel like the outfits in these reenactments are super fucking accurate to what people actually wear.
Yes.
Like, things don't match. It's just like one guy is
Just
wearing
flannel and denim.
like a Superman knit cap, and people have like bright orange gloves. It's just like real
Middle
clothes.
America.
Yep.
Yes, it was. Also, was it the reenactment of Dexter who had the really long mustache? Or was that someone else? Because there was a guy that had like a super long mustache that like draped over the side of his face.
Okay. I think that might be my pick.
For MBM?
Which was Carrie's dad, Gary Nixon.
Oh.
He had a very long mustache.
There was also a guy in this segment that had a long mustache. I think it was an actor though, but I don't quite recall.
There's also Cindy Shaw, you'll get to at one point, who like finds some things, and she's wearing the cutest hat.
Yes.
Anyway.
So this Sheriff George also noticed that the driver's seat was pushed back all the way. Dexter Stefanik, being a short man, according to Sheriff George, would have had the seat all the way up to the front to drive it. So it had to be a larger man driving the vehicle, 6 foot or larger.
Okay.
I guess Dexter was super short. I don't know. They show a picture of him. He doesn't look that short. But
He's like a little man.
I mean, I have to have my seat like all the way up, and I'm
I do too.
5'6", so maybe he was my height. Anyway, with no other clues, Sheriff George needed witnesses and a timeline. The car was discovered just after 10 a.m., nearly 2 hours earlier. Fred Siegel, custodian of the Bad Route Rest Area, had arrived for work as usual. He says, I go to the rest area between 8 and 8:30. There was a pickup parked there, but there was no one around it. I really didn't pay much attention to it. About 15 minutes later, Clyde Mitchell, a highway maintenance supervisor, I think this is the guy with the mustache, stopped to the rest area. Fred's pickup was there and a white Chevy pickup facing southeast. I saw Arizona plates on the back. I walked around the complete outfit and noticed it was a 4-wheel drive Chevy with blue trim and a cow catcher on the front. At the time, I didn't think there was anything suspicious about it. Soon after, Clyde Mitchell left to complete his regular rounds. 15 minutes later, Fred Siegel saw Dexter Stefanik's brown Plymouth Horizon pull in. According to Fred, the driver got out carrying 2 large plastic containers. He was around 6 feet tall, between 35 and 40 years old, and a real light skin. No sign of anything wrong with him. And had real light skin, I guess. Fred left the rest stop. Within 30 minutes, Dexter's car was ablaze. The case went nowhere for nearly 4 months. Then local residents Bill and Cindy Shaw made a routine run to a landfill, 17 miles from the rest area. Little did Cindy know that she and Bill were stepping into a crime scene. My husband and I came out to the dump to dispose of some garbage, and there was a wallet laying on the ground, and it still had the driver's license on it. It was current. So I handed it to Bill, and he just started looking around, and there was a bunch of stuff in the dump that didn't belong there, that hadn't been there when we were there before. And
Because we are often crawling around this dump.
Apparently they made several trips. And we kind of tried to see if there was anything else that didn't quite belong in the dump. Bill wasn't prepared for what he found, however. When he picked up a boot, a man's foot, partially hidden beneath a mattress, popped out. The ID of the body came as no surprise. It was Dexter Stefanik. He had been beaten and shot twice in the head.
This scene has a real, like, Fargo vibe.
Yes, it does.
They're, like, out
It's very snowy.
in the snow. They're wearing...
Everyone's wearing flannel.
Yeah, they're wearing their very Midwest outfits. Cindy's got her cute hat on, and they're just, like, going through this junk, finding evidence, and then a dead body.
Yeah. So there were marks on his hands, there was damage done to his neck and throat area, and he had a bruise or damaged area on the front part of his skull that was probably caused by a beating or some type of injury of that
Beats
sort.
an old man.
I don't know. Some of the evidence didn't quite add up. There was still money in Dexter's suitcase, making robbery an unlikely motive. Also, Dexter's clothing was found scattered around the area, but it was in good condition, as it had just only recently been discarded. But according to the coroner, Dexter's body seemed to have been in the landfill for months. The condition of the body would indicate that it had probably been in the dump site from the time that the car was found burning until the time it was discovered, according to the coroner. 1 week later, the authorities found a final clue in the men's room at the Bad Route Rest area. A small line of graffiti written in pencil. It began with the words, "Hot Jock." Police had not been...
You know how when you're in a bathroom and you see the words hot jock written?
And you think it means that someone has been murdered?
You're like, oh, this is evidence and I should take it very seriously. It's definitely not lewd bathroom graffiti. Also, if I want to have a good time, I should call this number. That's legit.
Yeah, so the police didn't release the whole message, but believe it may be linked to Dexter Stefanik's murder. Coroner...
I can't roll my eyes more at that.
Coroner Saya, I don't remember how to say this person's name, believed that the killer wrote it there for the police to find.
Why?
I know.
What?
The coroner says, my own theory is that someone wanted us to see it. Hot Jock could be a CB handle. It referred to shot. It had Wisconsin in the graffiti and a date indicating November. Or it was just some, lewd bathroom graffiti. I don't know.
I'm so over that.
I know.
Why would anyone take that seriously?
I have no idea. So police have only 2 clues that might identify Dexter Stefanik's killer: the description of the suspect's vehicle and the sketchy description of the suspect himself. The vehicle was a white Chevy 4x4 with a wide blue horizontal stripe. It had a white camper shell and a cattle guard on the front bumper. It also had Arizona plates with the Phoenix license plate holder. The suspect is middle-aged, at least 6 feet tall, light complexion, and clean-shaven. He may use the nickname or CB handle, Hot Jock.
That's right, everyone. Be on the lookout for Hot Jock. He could be anywhere.
I don't know.
Probably.
There's no update.
I mean, check Grindr.
Maybe he's on there.
He's out there somewhere. Hot Jock.
Maybe.
Will we ever find him?
Yeah. So that was the end of that segment. It's kind of sad. On Unsolved.com, there's a lot of speculation in the comments about, like, the police being involved. I don't really understand why people think that. Some people are speculating that he killed himself, which I don't know why he would beat himself before shooting himself.
Beat himself and then hid himself under a mattress?
Yeah, so that doesn't... I don't know. Not that there's...
That's talent.
It's a bad theory. So if you want to speculate about this case...
Some really bad theories on Unsolved.com.
Yeah.
Man, oh man.
Some people were speculating that he walked in on some sort of lewd activity between 2 men that they didn't want anyone to know about, and then he murdered them for some reason. People are just making shit up. No one knows what happened to Dexter.
It seems like a very poorly done robbery.
It is true that he was in a bad place mentally, but there's no evidence that he killed himself. He was beaten.
How would he beat himself
and then hide his own body in a dump? Yeah.
Fight Club style. And then hide himself under a mattress. Or someone, like, found his body after he beat and shot himself and was like, well, I don't want to report this to the police. Better just take him to the dump.
Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense. So it does seem that he was murdered. Yeah, and why would he set his own car on fire? That makes no sense.
He killed himself, then his ghost set the car on fire.
Yeah.
Then he moved his own body under...
It makes no sense.
And then he wrote a graffiti in the bathroom.
Yeah, then he did that. So...
I'm guessing this... I realize there's still money in the suitcase, but sometimes people committing crimes aren't good at crimes.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
I think this is a robbery gone bad.
Probably. Yeah. Maybe someone pulled up and they ran away before they were able to complete it. I don't know.
Yeah.
It seems clearly
just
a murder.
maybe they didn't see the money in the suitcase because they're dumb. I don't know. This seems like an incredibly senseless crime, and it's very tragic and awful. Unfortunately, the segment is just like a lot of people peering into cars.
Yeah. At one point, they speculated that, like, his attacker, because he couldn't hear, that he was sitting in his car and his attacker came up and was, like, trying to get directions from him. And because he wasn't responding, then the person was like, all right, I'm going to kill him now.
Yeah.
That made no sense.
I've found that in my own life. That
when you can't give directions to someone, they decide to kill you?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Or if people just don't hear me because, like, I don't know, it's loud, or
suddenly you're filled with
maybe
rage.
I'm speaking a language that they're not fluent in, or, you know, there's a lot of reasons that I am. I get into a murderous rage where I think the only proper response
is to kill this person.
Is to beat the elderly. But
okay, we've all felt that. But
then I don't do it. But it's only because of the law. It's the only thing holding me back. That's a dumbass theory. That's really dumb.
They did do a reenactment of it, which was dumb.
Yeah, it sure was.
Not my favorite segment.
I feel like not super. I don't know. That's just not what happened. They're trying to, like, make a little bit more out of this, I think, than there is there.
Yeah, I think so. I am sad for Dexter and his family. It is a boring segment, though. Should we rate this episode?
I haven't really thought about this. Okay, so
mysteriousness. I think the treasure segment.
Actually, mysterious. I would say pretty mysterious.
It's kind of mysterious
because there really might have been a treasure. Yeah. And where's that crown? And why isn't it on my head?
It's the real mystery.
Why don't I have any pigeon blood rubies? I deserve them.
Yeah.
For some reason.
Yep, you do.
And swords. Sure.
And what happened to Carrie? I mean, that was mysterious at the time.
Yeah, that is mysterious. And there's a great, well, I guess this is more for the reenactments, but I feel like the shot of her walking home is really great.
It's really, yeah.
It's super spooky. They are kind of, like, elevated above the actress playing her. I don't know. It's just really well done. I'm
a thumbs up for mysteriousness. And yeah, I think I'm a thumbs up also for reenactments because the treasure ones were pretty good.
I think the reenactments are good. There is a part, Matt pointed out to me how fucked up this is. There's a reenactment of, like, Carrie's parents going bowling and having a nice time, which means they had to, like, go pretend with some actress.
That was, I hate that.
That's, like, pretending to be their daughter, like, hey, bowling's great. Like, so I kind of wish they hadn't put that in there.
That's really messed up.
But it was convincing.
I mean, it was. Yeah, I'm a thumbs up for reenactments.
For sure.
Fashion, not bad.
Yeah, not bad. I like the Midwestness of our last segment.
Yep.
Babe's got some real style in the treasure segment. You get to see the New Kids on the Block. So, obviously, fashion icons right there.
Big hair also. There's a lot of big hair.
So, I'm a thumbs up. Cautious thumbs up.
Yeah, and Robert Stack, how did you feel about his felt-like trench jacket?
I mean, okay, I wrote down for the third mystery, casual look for Stack, I do not approve.
You don't want him to be a little more casual?
I kind of like when he was really dressed to the nines, but you got the pea coat, you get a turtleneck, and
you get the Alcatraz outfit.
You get this alternate casual look, even if I didn't approve. So I would say thumbs up. You get to see him in a motherfucking cave, which clearly, as I wrote down, equals good outfit.
Yeah, exactly.
That's math for you. Robert Stack plus cave equals good outfit.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly.
I get math.
Oh, so overall rating, I set a 4.5 out of 5 Robert Stacks.
Oh.
I gave it a pretty high.
With the half of it being treasure?
With a treasure. Maybe I'm more like a 4, but I actually
I would say it's a 4.
I really actually kind of like the treasure segment. I wish I didn't have that segment, so I could have just like sat back and enjoyed it.
Right. You gotta, yeah.
It took me like 2 days to take notes on that goddamn segment, but I actually kind of thought that the treasure was real, and the whole like twist at the end with Watergate and F. Lee
It
Bailey
goes crazy places.
was not what I was expecting.
You get some real characters, and I liked having a New Mexico mystery that was not about Billy the Kid.
I also thought that Robert Stack had some very poetic one-liners.
It's true.
As
you get
sad,
to see caves. You get to see skeletons.
As sad as the Carrie Lynn Nichols Nixon,
sad.
as the Carrie Nixon murder case was, it was well done,
but
and it was mysterious.
Plus, it has New Kids on the Block as a little extra
It has
flavor.
New Kids on the Block thrown in there. You get
Just
to
a
hear
little-
Robert Stack say New Kids on the Block, which is hilarious.
Yeah, he has to act like that's like a serious thing.
I know. The
Like,
last
obviously,
one,
you've seen this concert VHS. I think we all have. Here's a young girl partying with an old man at a New Kids on the Block concert.
the last one, although it was boring, I really liked the outfits, like you said. So I'm like a 4 out of 5 Robert Stacks.
I would
on
give
this
it a 4.
one.
Yeah.
It's a good way to round out the season.
I
would
feel
say.
like there's no unnecessary updates, so the time is used well, even though it's a lot of treasure.
Yeah.
But at least there's a lot going on with the treasure segment, and it's not just old men wandering around. And there's not a lot of like desert shot filler.
Yes.
This actually has like a story with a lot to it.
Yep, I agree. That's it.
Tongue pop.
Last. That'll make a great sound. People love mouth noises on podcasts. I'm cutting that out.
Unsubscribe now.
So, recommendations. Final recommendation for season 1.
Oh, now you're putting a lot of pressure on it. I'm excited to do a recommendation because we haven't had one for a couple weeks.
That's
and
true.
I miss telling people what to do.
That's true, and I have hardly anything to recommend, so you go first.
Okay. We like snail mail here at Perhaps It's You. If
Hell
you
to the yes.
give us any kind of Patreon contribution, we send you a little postcard to let you know. We appreciate it. Because when people give you like a shout out on Twitter, let's all admit that's bogus. And
It's bogus and kind of cringy. I don't love it.
and who cares?
Yeah,
Right?
but a personalized postcard in the mail. Who gets mail that they're excited about anymore unless it's from Amazon?
Yeah. Which
So.
is where my recommendation comes from.
Amazon?
No.
Oh. I was like, what?
Yes. Guys, inside scoop. You may not have heard of this website. They are actually the people that are providing Unsolved Mysteries that you're watching. But
You've never heard of it.
You've never heard of Amazon. But they rule everything. They sell these devices that cackle,
You
and
can get 2 days shipping.
they have this service where a guy like breaks into your house to give you your stuff now. It's all super weird.
They take a photo of your package sitting on your door. I saw that the other day. That was weird.
I just made a terrified face.
Yep.
No. My recommendation is not our evil overlords. My recommendation
what
is,
is it?
is a website called Post Crossing. If you would
Oh.
like to get more snail mail, Post Crossing is like a postcard exchange website
Oh.
that you register for. You can select only international, or you can also have domestic.
Oh.
But then you get a random person to send a postcard to, and then people will be randomly assigned you. So you can get postcards from all over the world.
That's really cool.
It's often people who, I think it's all pretty much done in English, so it's often people who are practicing writing English. So people will send you a little postcard sort of telling you about their hobbies and like where they live and what they like about their town or whatever. I did it for a while when I haven't done it recently, but I did it for a while when I had a desk job just because it was like a little something extra for your day. It's kind of nice to come home and to a postcard in your mailbox of just some random person in Siberia wishing you well.
That's cool.
And I would go to like antique stores and pick out old postcards from like different things in the US that I thought either were cool or people might be interested in, and send those out, and people really appreciated it. I think I had more fun picking out the postcards, honestly. And then people would send me one and I'd be like, this postcard's not cool. The one I sent out was way better. But if you want some more snail mail and to sort of interact with the wider world, Post Crossing.
That's super cool. I should tell Travis about that. He loves doing Reddit gift exchanges.
Oh, yeah.
I've done one. I did a nail polish one too. It was just kind of a lot of work. He loves doing it, and he particularly loves exchanging. Or I don't think you always get like, you don't get the person you send something to.
Right.
But he loves doing the international ones. So he can get, like, international
This
snacks
one you
that you can't
don't-
get in the U.S. or, like, whatever. But postcards would be a lot easier.
Yeah. And you're probably not going to get the same person you're sending it to either. It's just kind of, like, randomly...
assigned.
Yeah, whoever. And it keeps track of... You have to, like, say what you're sending out. So it won't...
Holds you accountable.
Yeah. So it's not like you could get a bunch of postcards and not send any to anyone.
Yeah.
It has all that tracking in there and...
Cool.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of fun. And maybe if you have kids that you're teaching about geography, that would be kind of cool, too.
Oh, yeah. I remember doing pen pals in school. It was fun.
I loved it.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, very cool. So I struggled to come up with a recommendation this week, mainly because I've done nothing but work and sleep and plan a house.
That can be your recommendation.
For the last 3 weeks.
Your recommendation could be, when you're really busy, just sleep and
do nothing.
make succulents out of felt, and that's it.
I mean, that has been what I've been doing, and I really enjoy it. I'm going to recommend a sheet mask company.
Oh.
Because I felt like this week I really needed some just alone me time, burning calories in the bath, wearing a sheet mask.
I mean, this is one of the first things Samantha and I bonded over.
Sheet masks.
Is that we both were getting addicted to sheet masks as the world crumbled around us.
Pretty much. I have more sheet masks than I could ever wear in my life.
Yeah, me too. And will I buy more? Yes.
When I first started getting into Korean skincare, and I'm not like super into it, but when I first started buying Korean skincare products, I was like 10 steps, and you do a sheet mask? Like, who does this every day? Now I have like 1,000 sheet masks. I love them.
It's fun.
They're really fun. I will say that what I'm about to recommend is a more high-end brand. If you've never done a sheet mask before, I would recommend going like to your local Marshalls and buying a box of them, because you can get a box of sheet masks at Marshalls for like $4.
Yeah, what
and then you get like 6 sheet masks. They're like less than $1 each.
Yeah, that's a sweet spot. I don't really like spending more than $1 because you're just gonna throw it away.
But if you want to indulge and treat
What should I
yourself,
get?
you should get Leaders sheet masks. It's a Korean company. I would not recommend spending full price because you can get them on sale oftentimes.
Well, I don't really recommend spending full price for
On anything really.
ever.
If you buy them at full price, they're about $5 a mask, which you can get like 5 at Marshalls for that. But they're so luxurious. They're so good. They're what I use if I feel like really treating myself, because what I'll usually do is on Black Friday or Cyber Monday, one of the two, I can't remember, they usually do 50% off their whole store.
Okay.
And I'll stock up. You can buy them in packs, so you get even a little bit cheaper. I absolutely love them. You can sometimes they're on Outlook also.
Okay.
So I will stock Outlook if I'm running low and wait for them to be on there, and then I'll buy a whole bunch, because then they're about the same, about half price, which is still a little more expensive, but sometimes you like to just indulge.
You're worth it.
I love them because also if you have really sensitive skin, because some sheet masks, especially cheaper ones, have a lot of alcohol in them, and it can irritate some skin. I've had bad reactions.
Kind of defeats the point of Korean skincare.
Right. And I've had bad reactions to some, not super bad, but you don't want to use a sheet mask and then get a rash. That's not really the point. So these
That would be terrible.
I know. These ones, I love them. They have like blueberry ones and tomato, and like my favorite is their they have like this calming coconut one that smells really good. And you know that they're luxurious because they're like double wrapped, so you have to like peel off one side and then you peel off the other side. And pro tip for sheet masks, I just discovered this: before you open the package, run it under hot water. It'll warm up the mask.
See, sometimes I put them in the fridge.
Oh, I don't like that. The worst part about putting on a sheet mask for me is that they're cold when you put them on your skin, and I don't like that. I know it like reduces puffiness or whatever, but I don't like that. So I've recently started running them under hot water in the sink before I put them on my face, and it's like a warm towel of like luxurious moisture.
Okay.
And then you just sit in a bath, and guess what, guys? You're burning 30 calories just sitting there.
That's your workout.
Yeah.
Light a candle.
I mean, will you drink a glass of wine while you're sitting there and just, cancel it all out? Yes, but
it's still better to do it. Yeah. It's fine. You get the antioxidants for the wine. You still get your exercise. If you have a dog like Lenny Briscoe, he will repeatedly come in the bathroom and bark at you because he doesn't like water, and it'll sort of ruin the whole experience. But that's okay.
You know what? At least you're trying.
If you're going to Marshall's to get your sheet masks, I'm going to say La Creme Shop.
Yes, those ones are really good.
That's my favorite.
Is that the one that makes the collagen mask in the blue package?
I don't know. They make a bunch of different ones.
I think it is. They're cream something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, I think that's the one. Their blue collagen mask is really good. Also, they have an aloe vera one that's really good.
I've had great success with those.
I usually go for the moisturizing.
They're cheap. They're not cheap online, but they're cheap at Marshall's.
Yeah,
So.
a box of them is like less than $1 a mask. So definitely go that route if you've never used a sheet mask before. And then if you want to treat yourself, Leaders is my fave. Look for them on Outlook. Yeah.
People have been waiting for our recommendations these past 3 weeks.
I can't believe it's taken us an entire season to recommend a sheet mask, but here we are.
I think even when I proposed, like, we could do recommendations, like books or sheet masks. Things we care about.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that the end? This is the end of season 1.
I can't believe it.
Wait, where's Lenny?
He went upstairs.
I was going to make him howl. Okay.
Oh, well, next time.
End of season 1. We're so glad you've been on this mystery-solving journey with us.
Yes. Maybe next season is when we solve a mystery.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe. So
maybe you've been on a plane talking to the person next to you, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I've heard of that podcast, and I've been meaning to listen."
Part of me doesn't even believe that happened.
My mind.
Some part of me doesn't even believe that happened, but apparently it has.
Crazy.
People's moms are listening to this shit. I can't believe it.
Hi, moms.
People who don't
all the moms.
People who don't even know who Robert Stack is are listening to this podcast right now.
It's so lovely.
It blows my mind.
I just love it.
Let's plug all our stuff. Find us on all the social things, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Perhaps It's You.
We want your stories. Anything about Robert Stack. Aliens. Ghosts. Whatever. Paranormal
all
things.
Of the above.
Mysteries you've solved. Perhaps It's You podcast@gmail.com.
PerhapsIt'sYou.com. Support us on Patreon if you feel so inclined. You will get one extra episode a month. We are at patreon.com/PerhapsIt'sYou.
So far, we have done occult crimes and alien autopsy.
What are we doing this month?
Facts or fiction. This month, we are doing the show Sightings, which was sort of like Unsolved Mysteries if Unsolved Mysteries only did ghosts. Mike from Uncovering Unexplained Mysteries turned me onto this. They created a VHS home video special about ghosts.
Yes.
Which
I think it's on YouTube.
A wonderful, glorious hero citizen has uploaded to YouTube. God bless him. So we're going to be watching that and talking about that this month. That'll be the Patreon bonus.
And subscriptions of any level, $1 and up, or less than $1. I don't know if you can even do that on Patreon.
I don't know.
Gets access to one bonus episode a month.
If you throw a sixpence our way...
Any Robert Stack dollar will get you one bonus episode a month. Oh, the cackling has to stop tote bags. I'm not saying that they're in the works, but we're still considering it.
Yeah, let us know how many you want.
And we'll think about doing that.
And, if you wanted to rate us on iTunes and give us 5 out of 5 Robert Stacks.
Yeah, please.
We would accept it.
Rate and review on iTunes.
5-star reviews only.
Yeah.
So, Joffrey, no thanks.
Yeah, please don't rate our show, Joffrey. Joffrey's not listening. We could really use some more reviews because it really helps out the show. If you haven't reviewed us on iTunes, we'd really appreciate it. We love everyone who has.
You can just go, I realize it's a hassle, but just go and go show, good, me like.
That's
this
fine.
is the best.
Yeah, it helps the algorithm or whatever.
5 Robert Stacks. You could just write that, actually. 5 Robert Stacks.
Yeah. Cool.
I'm wearing a trench coat right now.
Maybe not that. Anything else? I assume anyone who says that they're wearing a trench coat is wearing nothing else.
Yeah, that's true.
So
unless they're Robert Stack.
Well, yeah.
Or Mulder and Scully.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Is that all we have?
I think we should really stop before I say something else weird.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.